Wanderlust King.
Welcome back, everybody, to Angels with Scaly Wings. Last time, we had a lot of alone time with Adine. Did fortune reading stuff, had a lot of fun, learned more about her. And this time, we wake up at the start of chapter 3, and Sebastian's already here wanting us. And he seems like there's been an emergency. What's going on? You sound serious. The chief will explain everything once we arrive. Okay. Hey Chief, Faria's here. Thanks, Sebastian. You can deal with the situation here while I talk to Furea, alright? Of course! Furea, I've got some really bad news. Well, what is it? You know Anna, right? I've met her, yes. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Those few words were enough. Dread sank in, and I already knew. Don't. I ignored his words and walked past him. Oh no. When I turned the corner, there was no mistaking her. Anna was haphazardly covered by a sheet, leaving her tail and blood-stained head exposed. In the end, she didn't even deserve full discretion. Are you okay? I don't know. Is there anything I can do? Let's just get this over with. Bryce gave me a concerned look, but then nodded. And here's more bad news. The blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence we found on the second victim at the power facility. Furthermore, the murder weapon and method appear to be the same across all 3 victims, and that's going to be a big problem for you. Why is that? Because with these 3 murders, Reza now qualifies as a serial killer. We won't be able to keep this whole thing quiet for much longer. Higher authorities, including the Ministry in charge of your whole visit, will know about this soon, and I have no idea what will happen once they do. I'm not sure what to say about that. I don't want to worry, but we can be sure that action will be taken soon. I've been considering the possibility for a while, and I think it might be best if you went back to your own world for now. This way we can take action before the Ministry does, and before this all becomes public. If we wait, we don't know what they'll do or how the public will react. With everything going on, it's too dangerous for you to stay here. No. No? This would be the worst possible time for me to leave. We've given up our PDAs and hardly have anything to show for it. We are owed several more generators, and let's not forget that Reza is still missing. If I leave now, the only thing I will return home with is my life. I'll have lost everything else. We need those generators, Bryce. I have no idea if your authorities will continue to uphold our deal or what they'll do to Reza, but I'm not leaving until this is over. If that's your decision, then so be it. Anyway, let's get back on track. Called you here for a reason, Furea. In addition to the murder, several things were stolen. Among them, your PDAs, batteries, and some components used to build generators. Does that ring any bells? Not really. Reza might have some knowledge of electronics, but I doubt he has enough to assemble one of your generators, even if he had the parts. Strange. Even so, it's fair to assume Reza's involvement at this point. No one else has a greater motive to steal the PDAs, especially after what happened between him and Maverick. Unless someone wanted to frame Reza in order to sabotage this whole operation. Do you really believe that? Hey, I'm just saying it's possible. I'll shelf that idea under possible but unlikely. Hey Chief, are we done here? Pretty much, why do you ask? We just got a message from the higher-ups. You and Furea are to report to the Ministry of Culture and Arts immediately. Immediately, as in right now? Yeah, apparently. What's going on? To be frank, I don't know. This is an extraordinary situation. Now it's getting out of hand. They must want to address it. So the worst possibility. If you expect the worst, at least you won't be disappointed. Sebastian, can you finish up here and go to the Ministry when you're done? We'll probably have to make some arrangements after this meeting. Sure thing, Chief. Let's go then, shall we? It's not like we have a choice. Well, shit. Shit has hit the fan. God damn. Even my cat can't like believe what's going on. Right, you think this is all fucking crazy, Tigger? She agrees. That was quicker than I expected. I wouldn't have minded waiting out here a little longer. Greetings, Minister. Greetings. Shall we go inside for our official business? No, I've got everything I need right here. It gets so stuffy inside on hot days. My assistant doesn't seem to mind, but I prefer the fresh air. I'd rather just stay right here unless you have any objections. I don't. I see. Well, I know I haven't been exactly up to date in regards to Reza's sudden disappearance, but I do get the message. But to get the message today that he is confirmed the serial killer was quite shocking. Frankly, I'm curious as to why the facts of this case have been withheld from me for so long. Simply because they weren't within your jurisdiction, the murders were strictly a police matter. Only with the amount of new evidence, namely the DNA and blood we found, we have these 3 murders now being linked together, and to him, did your ministry have become involved? I see. So Reza's involvement is now undeniable. I'm afraid so, Minister. Facts are nothing to be afraid of, though in light of all this, I'm starting to worry about my personal safety. With our thick hides, I don't think our species has much to fear if we consider the murder weapon. Speak for yourself. I don't think you don't think someone of my standing needs protection? Oh, for sure. If you are worried about your personal safety, we can look into an escort for you. Good. Considering all the murders took place during night, I'll certainly need it. Long days are endemic in my line of work. But that's enough about myself. We now face the question of what should be done about Reza and Faria. And this cat who is clawing up my leg! Go away! And she immediately returns to me. Minister, we continue our hunt for Reza every day. As a matter of fact, Faria has been helping us do so for a while now. Is that so? One human a murderer, another a detective. Interesting. How do we know Faria isn't following a similar plan to Reza's, whatever that may be? Similar concerns were leveled by Reza's escort, Maverick. It was his overreaction that caused Reza to run away in the first place. Let the human talk for once, Chief. Please, Furea, enlighten me. You and Reza came here on the same mission, and the situation has escalated beyond our expectations. What you tell me now will determine the actions I'll take on this matter. Maybe you should start by telling me your side of the events from the beginning. Reza was fine during his early days here. Things only went wrong after you arrived. I opened my mouth, but Bright spoke first, determined to defend me. Arguably, the problems that caused all this were apparent even then. How so? Maverick suspected Reza of planning something, but I didn't think he had a case. Well, did he? No. What he had was a suspicion. The night he followed Reza, he found both him and Faria at the portal. The humans intended to send one of their promised generators through, but there was a confrontation that ended with both Maverick and Faria wounded and Reza running away. Reza's been missing ever since. I've read the reports already, Chief. The question is, did Maverick cause all this, or did he just fail to prevent it? I have no way of knowing that, Minister. You mean you just mentioned your apparent knowledge of problems back then? Problems may not have been the right word. Let's just say Maverick's attitude was not helpful during that encounter. Why did you choose Maverick as his escort in the first place? Protection for the human ambassador was my greatest concern when I made that decision. Maverick was the most capable individual in that regard. Well, that worked out nicely, didn't it?
You also seem to think that Maverick shouldn't have remained Reza's escort, is that true?
Yes. Had I paid more attention to the warning signs, this situation may have been avoided.
So you accept responsibility for the incident?
Yes, Minister.
I see. Now let's get back to the topic of Furea. Reza was your partner in the humanity's mission to come to this world. His list of criminal activities not only includes murder, but also theft of generators, electronic components, and the PDAs your people gave to us. I understand why Bryce would reason that you could help in the investigation, but we have no other choice but to be suspicious of Reza's partner. What was your motivation when you agreed to help us?
It's my best bet at finding the truth.
I thought Reza's involvement was undeniable at this point. That may be true, but we still don't have the whole picture. We don't know if the others are involved or his reasons. I just want to know why. I see. Well, after reading up on this whole situation and hearing both of your accounts, I believe that Furea is trustworthy. Nevertheless, I think Furea presents a great risk. Why is that? After this meeting, I will hold a press conference to inform the public of the current situation. People must know of the danger posed by Reza. No matter what Bryce and I think about your involvement, the public could feel differently. You, me, and Bryce will have to face the backlash resulting of this information becoming public, and what's more, Furea, you might be in real danger yourself. Reza himself might come to silence you once he learns that you are helping us, or consider the public uproar from those who would question your involvement. All things considered, it would be for the best if you return to your own world until the situation has been resolved.
I came to the very same conclusion, Minister.
Then with your support, this is what shall be done.
Please don't.
You don't agree? If you send me back now, this diplomatic relationship is over. I'd have to admit defeat to humanity. There is no way I can return without your generators, RPDAs, or Reza. Maybe you could explain to them what a great choice of an ambassador Reza was. But I was his partner, so in a way, he is my responsibility. I can't just go back like this. I'm afraid that's not enough. It certainly doesn't outweigh our reasons for sending you home. Please, just let me explain it.
We're going full screen for this shit. And what I mean by that is I accidentally pressed the F key.
Years ago, our world was prosperous. Our technology was far more advanced than yours, even. Computers not only graced every household, but every single person. It was the age of information. Even children had the power to access the most advanced knowledge at their fingertips. With our PDAs, our interconnectedness with other people and our environment was greater than ever. From locomotion to repetitious work and household chores, many processes were automated to such a degree that except for our jobs and hobbies, there was nothing that needed to be done by a person anymore. Even the concept of someone wielding a weapon was outdated, as wars were no longer fought by people but machines. Looking back, it was probably the single most prosperous time in human history. Exploitation of the environment and other people was at an all-time low, as was crime. Conversely, our technological advancements had drastically increased the quality of life. Humans were no longer required for strenuous and repetitive tasks. Education had reached an all-time high, and many new jobs were created. General happiness had reached levels never before seen. Yet one day, everything changed. A solar flare that was headed for Earth was detected by an automatic monitoring system. It was determined to be so powerful that it dwarfed all others ever recorded in history. We had less than a week to prepare. Chaos hit much earlier than that. People scrambled to shield themselves from their possessions from the incoming ion storm. On a worldwide level, power lines were switched off, satellites were reoriented in space, and planes grounded to mitigate the effects of what would hit us. Despite humanity's contingency plan for such an event and all our efforts, we were still not prepared for the sheer magnitude of this solar flare that arrived. It was only then, when our race had become so dependent on technology, that we were immeasurably vulnerable against this kind of disaster. That day, a force with a power of 10 billion Hiroshima bombs was released into our atmosphere. The eyewitness reports from this day were varied as they were terrifying. A huge, beautiful aurora could be seen on the horizon before fireballs hurled across the sky. In some places, these lights became so bright that even those asleep at night awoke, as though the day had already arrived. A coronal mass ejection by itself did not have the power to kill anyone directly, but the side effects were still disastrous. After the lights in the sky arrived, sparks showered from electrical outlets everywhere, igniting rampant fires in every town and city. Facilities that stored weapons, fireworks, or other explosives became centers of widespread destruction and loss of life. During the next stage, the solar flares started to affect body modifications that caused commonplace pacemakers and nanomachines to fail. 50% of the world's population died as a result of this alone. Once the full power of the waves hit us, however, society as we knew it collapsed on one fell swoop. Power grids on Earth shut down in an instant, as did all the machines that automated our routine tasks. Long-distance communications and transport became a thing of the past. Without electrical power, the quality of healthcare plummeted. The water and sewage systems were crippled. Diseases we thought defeated centuries ago made their comeback in an almost unsightly fashion. Many thought the end of the world had arrived, and in a way it had. Some people blamed whoever their belief system would allow, angry at the gods that had forsaken them. Others pointed fingers at our lifestyle and society, not that anyone was listening. Practically, we were back in the Middle Ages. Governments collapsed and were overthrown, and the ensuing power vacuums filled with groups of people that were sometimes organized and sometimes not. The few functioning electronic devices left became rare, sought-after artifacts over which battles and even wars were fought. Of course, there was also wars over resources and territory. The weaponry used was improvised or reclaimed from the days when humans had been present on the battlefield. It had been ages, but people returned to the old bloody ways of war. Humanity is in shambles now. Those that I'd call family and friends now live with me in a giant, mostly self-sufficient state of survivors. A huge wall around the perimeter, guarded by militia, prevents any outside interference. It's the only way we can retain a modicum of order. Gangs and raiders and looters run rampant on the outside. They wouldn't hesitate to kill first, ask questions later if they had known about my PDA. Our contained community has flourished for years now. We have homes to live in, crops to grow, livestock to raise, and still have our own automated hospital that runs on salvage generators. Lately, though, supplies have started to run low, and dangerously so. The power we have is running out. Illnesses are spreading throughout the city, and treatment isn't as available as it used to be. Our population is dropping by the day. We took great risk to increase the radius of our scouting missions, desperate to find something outside the wall that could help us. You already know the rest of the story. We found the portal in you. And now you know why this whole thing is so important to me. All our hopes lie in acquiring the generators you promised us. The act of sending Reza and me here has, without a doubt, already cost the lives of some people back home. Beyond the city walls is a dead zone. We haven't heard from any other settlements for months now. The state of the rest of the world is unknown. When Reza and I were sent here, my peers made it clear that this was our last chance. If anything happened to us, no more people will be sent. If we can't manage to bring back something that will help, we'll have sealed the fate of tens of thousands that live in our city. I'm sorry, Furea. I didn't know. If what you are telling me is true, it unfortunately does not work in your favor. As sad as your situation may be, it gives Reza a motive. Desperate times call for desperate measures, after all. In that vein, it also gives you a motive. Considering the gravity of human plight, it gives you all the more reason to collaborate with him. I'm not. What Reza is doing is wrong. You can't send me away under these circumstances because I'm your best bet at finding him. Even so, you would still be in grave danger after we announced Reza's involvement in the murders. I cannot and will not take responsibility for consequences when I know of the risks. What about our deal, then? In wake of this new information, and as a sign of goodwill, we will send the generators you are owed through the portal once it's over under 2 conditions. Humanity must condemn Reza's actions, and we must reclaim the stolen PDAs. I've changed my mind. You should let Furea stay here. I cannot take your word under consideration in this matter, Chief. Taking into account Maverick's actions and your responsibility for them, you will have to be dealt with separately. With my authority as the minister in charge of the human visit, it is my decision to have Furea sent back to the human world through the portal. Please. Immediately. Chief, please arrange an escort to take Furea to the portal now. I could do it myself, Minister. Well, we have our own matters to discuss, Chief, and I would rather get that over with as quickly as possible. In that case, one of my officers should be here any moment. I arranged for him to meet us here. How handy. Then let us wait for this officer of yours. It didn't take long for Sebastian to arrive. After the situation was explained, he was visibly shocked but didn't protest when he was given the task of sending me back through the portal. Let's go then, Faria. Don't I even get to say goodbye? Let us not waste any more time. You will still be free to send letters after you have arrived on the other side. Just go, Furea. Come on, then. We were silent as Sebastian and I slowly made our way to the portal. With each step I took, I drew closer and closer to the hopelessness waiting for me in the ruins of the human world. All in all, I certainly had a unique experience alongside these dragons, and although this place was filled with just as much drama and murder as back home, I would remember this world and all the people I met. I would finally think back to the days I spent in their comfortable standard of living, a shadow of how humanity used to be.
Even without the generator. Self-voicing disabled.
Ah, self-voicing is a thing. Accidental findings! You know, there's gonna be a point when I'm just gonna start mashing every button on my keyboard just to see what it does. I'll have to make a note to never press the V key. What's going on here? Lost in thought, I haven't even noticed the Dean approach. It's none of your concern. Please leave. Can't I even get a few minutes before I go? I suppose nobody's stopping us, but make it quick. What's going on here, Furea? Listen, Dean, don't take this the wrong way, but I have to leave. You're leaving already? Why? And why didn't you tell me? It wasn't my choice. The minister made this decision just a moment ago. You'll be hearing about the reasons soon enough. Is it true what I heard about Reza being a murderer? I'm afraid so. What does that make you? I don't have anything to do with that. I was just helping the police find him. Then why are you leaving? They don't want me to stay here with all this going on. It's for my own safety. Are you going to come back? I don't think so. At least you could write me some letters, right? She looked at me with hopeful, bright eyes. I thought of the other side of the portal, standing in the desolate human wilderness. I doubted our city would waste limited energy resources on a pen pal. I doubted I would even see the portal again after I returned home. Maybe. I'd like that. And I couldn't even show you my flying. I was just practicing when I saw you down here. It's a shame. I bet your stunts would have been amazing to see. We exchanged small, sad smiles. Guess I should go. Goodbye, Furea. Goodbye, Adine. Take care of yourself. I remember her. That was the witness from Reza's first murder. Do you know her? Yes. I see. A few minutes later, we arrived at the portal, standing proud as ever in defiance of the elements. How many years had the structure survived before it was found? I hope I can remember how this thing works. Are you joking? Yeah, sorry. I got it. Alright, I suppose it's time for us to say goodbye. Let's keep it professional. I don't like to mix personal matters with work. He looked away and shrugged. Go ahead and turn it on then. Would you stand between the pillars, please? Of course. I took my place and stared toward horizon while I thought about what would happen now in this world and others. Even if I made a break for me, I'd become a fugitive, no better than Reza. It would be near impossible to investigate the case by myself while on the run in a world I knew so little about. At the very least, I took comfort in the fact that I did everything I could to help, even if it turned out like this. Nevertheless, I dreaded going back empty-handed and returning to my old life in our ruined city. Any second now, the teleportation process would start, disintegrating my body before I would reappear back on the other side, back in my dying world. I wondered if there was any risk of getting lost somewhere between worlds. We didn't really know how the portals worked, after all. Maybe I would be flung somewhere else in space-time, or it might affect my body in some way. I hadn't noticed any unusual changes in my body since I arrived in this dragon's world, but I had no way of knowing if there were potential long-term side effects. I still remembered the images I saw when I teleported the first time, the vivid sights and patterns, people and situations I have recognized since then. It only took a moment to arrive at the other side of the portal, yet it felt like I had dreamed 1,000 dreams. And during that nights I spent here, these dreams had often reappeared. Any time now, I would undergo the same experience again. I was almost relieved that my adventure was over. Things had turned out far differently than I had expected. I evaded danger, got swept into a murder investigation, met incredible intelligent beings from several different species. It's certainly been a time to remember. With that thought, I closed my eyes and braced myself for the moment that would come any second now. But that moment never came. The next thing that happened was I heard Sebastian's voice. It's not working! Are you joking again? No, really. It's not working. Wait, what's this? Oh shit, it's been sabotaged! It's broken! Can you fix it? Don't think so. This doesn't look like a simple act of vandalism. It looks like some parts were torn out. I guess that means I'm not leaving, huh? Not yet, at least. Well, what do we do now? Let's head back. The chief has to know about this right away. We were back in the ministry before long. Emera and Bryce were still outside as Remy approached the two of them. Here are the case files, Emera. Why, thank you. Furea and an officer? What is this about, Emera? That is what I would like to know. Please, officer, enlighten me why my order has not been carried out. The portal is broken. It's broken? Yeah, it looks like someone tampered with it and stole parts. Couldn't even get the interface to turn on. We'll check it out once I'm done here. I suppose Faria will have to stay with us for a little longer after all. Seeing how this is an emergency situation, I will make this short. Chief, as a result of your carelessness regarding Maverick and Reza, you are temporarily removed from any duties related to the humans. Given these dangerous times, you will instead serve as my personal escort until further notice. Considering the circumstances, you will be allowed to coordinate the investigation of the portal, but after that, you are to immediately return to me and start your new task. Understood? Understood. Then all of you are dismissed. She turned to leave, Remy trailing after her. Alright, let's head to the portal. That includes you, Furea. Of course. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a sheet of paper on the ground. What's this? Emera probably dropped one of the case files. Either her or her assistant. You better bring that to her. Sebastian and I should hurry to the portal. Meet us there afterwards, okay? Sure. I picked up the sheet, saw Irina. It was about what happened when I met Reza at the portal. Of course, it didn't say anything I didn't already know. As I walked up the stairs, I wondered if it was okay for an unauthorized person to enter a building. All I knew about was the place Emera worked here. I did have an important document that was going to be missed, so I walked inside only to be greeted by an empty lobby. Luckily, there was some signs directing me to Emera's office. It didn't take long for me to find out. I heard voices when I approached the door. By the way, what happened to the scroll you brought me this morning? Last time I saw it, it did not have that tear. I dropped it. Tell me something new for once. Okay, someone else dropped it. Am I supposed to believe that, Remy? Are you aware how much this costs? Repairing and replacing artifacts is not cheap. I'm afraid we will have to deduct this from your wage again. I see. You are not doing this on purpose, are you? Of course not! You've been working for me for a long time now. I expected you to learn at some point, but you are very resistant to do so. Not wanting to listen to this any longer, I decided to knock. There were a few seconds of silence. Please, come in. I only opened the door long enough to hand Remy the sheet of paper. I think you dropped this outside. After I closed the door and started to walk away, I heard the voices resume. This is from one of the case files you requested. You must have dropped it. And why was it left outside? As my assistant, you should have paid more attention. If this got into the wrong hands, someone could get in trouble. I made my way back to the portal and arrived shortly after Bryce and Sebastian. Well, I can confirm that it's not turning on. I told you that already. Just wanted to be sure. You really think it would still work with a chunk ripped out of it? Hey, I'm not an engineer. We don't know how the portal works. It was worth another try. There you are, Furea. What do you make of this? I'm afraid I don't know any more than you do. I'm not an engineer either. In that case, we should start by thinking about who and when. There are patrols assigned to the portal and surrounding the area day and night. If someone tampered with the portal, they must have seen something. Today's day patrol didn't notice anything unusual, though. I guess she just missed the part about the portal being vandalized. It'd be easy to overlook. It's a small part of the machine, and it's not like she was expected to check every square inch of it with each lap around the area. What about night patrol, then? When I went over the reports this morning, I noticed the night patrol hadn't handed theirs in yet. And who was patrolling last night? Let me think for a minute. The schedule always goes in a certain order, so last night would have been... Calling it! It was fucking Maverick! I'm calling it in. Damn. What is it? Yeah! The night patrol for last night would have been Maverick! I got wrapped up in all the recent chaos and forgot to find a replacement for him when he went on sick leave. Maybe Emera was right to take me off the case. So there was no guard here at all? That's right, whoever it was had an easy time doing whatever they wanted. Could it have been Maverick? If he knew no one was going to be here, he could have used that knowledge to his advantage. He couldn't have known I'd forget to find a replacement, though. I don't usually slip up like this. What about Reza? Why would he have done it? He'd be cutting off his only way out. No, he'd be doing something smart. If he had the part needed to get the portal working again, he's in control of who gets to use it. He's cutting off our ability to communicate with mankind. We wouldn't be able to inform them of Reza's actions. Maybe we shouldn't have kept the investigation secret for this long. If your theory is true, that would be proof that Reza's actions are his own, not humanity's. Hey, I already trust you on that. Or it's a stunt to grant humanity plausible deniability. No way, things are too dire for the humans to take such an extraordinary risk, especially for that. I'm sure that wouldn't be the only reason they'd benefit, though. There must be something we're not aware of. Maybe we're looking at it from the wrong angle. If no one was here to guard the portal, anyone could have broken it. It doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with Reza or Maverick. But they still have the greatest motives. Sure, but they definitely aren't the only ones to have one. There could be private groups who are interested in technology or its significance as a human artifact. So that puts us exactly nowhere. At least as far as speculation is concerned, it's about time for forensics to show up anyway. Let's hope they can pull some clues from all this. Sebastian, can you take it from here? You've been just as dedicated to the case as I have. Since I'll have to be at the minister's side for a while, I'd like you to take charge of the investigation for now. Thanks, Chief. I won't let you down. What's up with that anyway? Being appointed as Emera's bodyguard's punishment just seems strange to me. Are you kidding? I could have lost my job. This is a way better outcome. Honestly, she probably did it for her own sake more than anything else, but I'm not complaining. That's all. I'm going to head back to the ministry. I shouldn't keep her waiting. So, what does that make you now? Temporary chief? More like case leader. By the way, you won't need to stick around while Forensic does their job. Thanks for your help. I assume you can find your own way back to your apartment? Yeah, of course. Alright, see you later then. See ya. I considered spending my free time roaming town, but decided that it would be best to keep myself out of the spotlight. After cooking myself a rudimentary meal, I considered picking up another book when the doorbell rang. Hey, Faria. Hey, Sebastian, do you need my help again? We're just a small town police department, and with Bryce removed from the case, our resources are thinner than ever. I understand. So what do you have for me? First up is the primary witness in the latest murder, Damien, the victim's assistant. He was the one who found her body. A few things have changed since this morning, as we've gotten some additional information from the forensics that warrants further questioning. I know you knew the victim personally, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'll leave the choice to you. You can find her assistant at the production facility. You seemed interested in that underground building found near the portal. I realized you might actually be able to help us with that, since it's suspected to be of human origin. Your opinion would be greatly appreciated. I guess I should add archaeologist to my resume. Maybe human matters consultant would be more appropriate. Do you really think it's okay for me to tamper with your priceless discoveries? Oh, you wouldn't actually go there in person. I just want you to take a look at the collected information in the archives and give us your opinion. Besides, no one is allowed to visit at the moment. The building is old and unstable, and there's danger of it collapsing or flooding. Obviously, we don't want either of those to happen. Flooding? Yeah, the whole building is underground, and we determined that there's a rather large pocket of water surrounding it. Any kind of disturbance could endanger everything and everyone inside. I see. We also located another witness for the latest murder. A store clerk reported seeing and hearing something, so it's probably worth asking him a few questions. Got it. Here are all the details. Visit me at the department once you're done. Sure thing. It was interesting that they still relied on me for their investigations. Even after they tried to send me back to my own world, I didn't expect them to allow me to help with police matters after everything that happened. Now the possibility of sending me back was eliminated. The advantages of having me on their side apparently outweighed the risks. Though I had to wonder who would have to be more careful from now on. That's where we're going to end this episode, folks. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up or a like, whichever you wish to refer to it as. Holy shit. I'm unsure of what to make of this. I feel like there's a third party involved. Reza's gone into hiding. I feel someone else is the murderer entirely, trying to pin it on humans, trying to disturb human-dragon relations. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you guys then.